dropping some frames. I don't know how good this is gonna look, but welcome to the Gayaman Photocast. This should be officially number one, but I've done a couple of these and tested it out. It hasn't really worked out. But anyway, I'm Rodrigo Gaya Villar. I'm a photographer. This is gonna be a little bit of behind the scenes of how I edit, how I shoot. And we're going to go over some photos from kind of a year ago. Coronavirus has been kind of crazy. But we're going to look at a surf photography session that I did. I go with my water housing, camera in the water housing, and I just go for it. This trip was, photos were kind of secondary, so it was not epic surf or anything like that, but there's some cool nature photos in there. There's some cool little moments, and I guess we'll find out how this works. The enemy of the good is perfect, so we're going for good. If it's terrible, we'll come back to it at another time. But the idea is to kind of spend the next hour going through some photos. Hopefully, I'm not too long-winded. But yeah, let's just start. So kind of jumping in the middle of my edit, but let's start from the beginning, right? So there's 1,400 images from this whole shoot. So this was like a whole trip with a cousin of mine. And then, man, Baja California, Cerritos is just an epic place. So all these photos right now are straight out of camera, unedited. And that's really the goal of any photographer, should at least doing kind of like lifestyle documentary work, should be to try and get it as closely as you can in camera. And because I was here only for a limited time, I go in and I just shoot. I don't worry about memory or overshooting, or just, if you're shooting digital, and even with film, it gets more expensive, but just shoot, right? Go outside and go shoot. So you can see from the shadows here, this is early morning Baja. Shadows are coming across here. I got up kind of early-ish to go see how the surf was. Cerritos Point is right up here, and it's basically like this epic desert town that's just full of Canadian transplants. They go and retire out in the desert and on the beach, and you get amazing cactus and pristine untouched beaches. Baja California, Mexico. If you get a chance to visit Mexico, please do. There's so much wonder, and obviously there's chaos and horror and terror. But a lot of these places are fairly secure, and go for the adventure, man, and miss. Go for the adventure. Yeah. So this was the early morning session where I'm not sure what I was doing with this trip, but I hadn't taken out my water housing yet. This is just a little bit so you can get a sense of the place. Obviously, when we edit, we'll bring down some of this highlight up in this corner. And we'll mix and match some of the lighting, and just, I don't know, a lot of little postcard kind of frames. But let's get into the surf, right? So Cerritos is a point break, right? So you have to get close to the rocks. There's no other way about it. This was a super small day, kind of flat, just some some foreign kooks in the water. So, this is just more about the whole experience. So right here, I have the camera in the water housing, right? Already prepared. Everything's already set up. Actually, let me show you the water housing. Still have it in my luggage. Haven't really unpacked since the trip. But here we go. Fins and a mask sometimes. And then this pretty little baby. Water housing for my XT1, my Fujifilm XT1 water housing. And this is kind of like the cheap version of it, of a water housing. It's not the super pro version, but it's a lot of what my work is like how does it fit in my budget? Where does it work? And how can I use it to build up a bigger kit maybe in the future? So this is kind of like my 1.0 kind of edit, right? And so cameras already in the water housing, all the little details that if anyone has any questions, we can go through. And feel free if there's any questions. I am kind of going live for the first time. I'm not even sure how it sounds. I'm not even sure if we're live. Supposed to be on YouTube. But let's move. Should we check now? Let's just move forward. Actually, yeah, should have checked it before. But anyway, so the first thing, and you can kind of already see one of the big issues with a water housing in the water. The water housing out of the water, it looks beautiful, it's fine. But once you start getting in the water, obviously you have water droplets that attach with their surface tension on top of the front of the on the front glass right here. Let me get a little reflection so you can kind of see it. Yeah, on this front glass, right? You'll get water droplets on it. So there's a few ways to do it. When you're in a bind, just spit. It's the best way to do it. Put the camera in the water and pull it out. And obviously, the first thing I do is I just start going for like little nature, beauty, landscapes. If you know any of my work, I'm a fanatic and a psycho for any of this kind of like light reflecting on water and sunset vibes. Super epic, right? Like come on. And so when I'm going through, what I'll do is there's this little button down here in the corner, on the right hand corner. I'll go through and I'll start tagging with the T on PhotoMechanic. PhotoMechanic for me has been the best way to go through a ton of images like we're going to go through now, and we're going to go through them quick. If you're on deadline, this is what all the PhotoMechanic is what all the pros use. Shout out to my cousin Alexa for hooking me up with one of the licensing codes. But anyway, PhotoMechanic, sponsor, bro. But anyway, I go in the water and the first thing I do is shoot. The second thing I do is kick my feet, just non-stop like this. And the third thing I do is just shoot. Just shoot. And then remember to breathe every once in a while. So yeah, I like start swimming out to the point just to see what I can find. And then like these three little ducklings, little birds, just floating in the water. These are the little moments that like make it. Photography has allowed me to go to places and to be in places that normal people you don't get to do, you don't get to see, you don't get to live or experience. Floating in the water in Cerritos with these, it was a fleeting moment, but this is like my main takeaway image. There's a couple, but this one is, dude, it's too much for me. I can't double rainbow kind of vibe, like just too epic. And as you can see, I'm tagging and untagging on the first round. Okay, so first round is just to go. If you can do this right after the shoot, it's kind of a little more difficult because you're so close to it. So I probably just would have been focused on the perfect duckling ones, and not so much on really anything else. On like maybe these kind of side ones that are cool, but like that's kind of cool just with the three little elements of the water, the sky, and the sun in the corner. But what you're really looking for with PhotoMechanic is speed, right? You want to get through these images because take your time with it, whatever. If you don't shoot too much. In this kind of sequence, so as you notice, I'm focusing on two things and this moment. Actually, two things. So how the water is reflecting and playing with the light going into sunset and turning away, because you get this magnificent blue and like this the so it's like front focus and you get all these mountains in the background. Dude, Cerritos, bro. Baja. Go to Baja. Um, and then I'm also focusing on this like event space, cathedral, Spanish vibe thing they have going on in the corner. That's like the famous spot for Cerritos. And so, you know, just the first thing I'll do is just go out for that swim, go out to the front. There are a few surfers in the water, and so I'll kind of make my presence felt a little bit so they can see me and so they don't think I'm a shark or that I'm some whatever, you know. And so yeah, I'll say hi to a couple people, give them the old like, so, and then just start and not even start shooting. I'm already shooting from beforehand, as you can see. Like even even these quote unquote misfires, you never know what you can use them for. I am fascinated by these kind of in between shots, and I find that you can always pull something out of. I never delete. Only you don't want to delete any photo that you might or might not know that you want to use or that you can use or whatever. You'll end up with a few of these, right? External hard drives, and actually two are plugged into the computer right now, and then there's the Big Bertha ones. But I work off of these. I have my Big Bertha as backup. And so that's actually what we're pulling from now. We're pulling from a hard drive. And so I'm going and just shooting, right? I'm looking for how the light is playing with me. And then once a set comes in, I start trying to get some surfers. And obviously this is underexposed because I'm shooting shutter priority, ISO priority, aperture priority. And just shoot. Like, realistically, the surf wasn't that impressive. The surfers weren't either. So I wasn't really going for like the epic surf shot. I've gotten a few of those, and maybe we'll go through in another round. But just this hour of being in the water, 30 minutes, last light, just kind of looking for like little lifestyle-y, man, you can call it stock photography if you want. This kid getting freaked out by me being there. So looking for surfers now, looking for little moments of surfers coming over the wave, of how like when the wave comes up and then you're like looking upwards, and then that just creates a new horizon line. Seeing what the sun is doing in the corner, that's always cool. Like this image is pretty crisp. Let's zoom in at 200. Yeah, there we go. That's pretty nice. This is with an XT1. This is a 5-year-old camera, 16 megapixel. It's now become my backup camera because it's just good to have in the background just in case I'm shooting for a client or something and my main camera goes, I drop it. You never know. It's obviously the last thing you want to think about, but it's good to have your backups. And so like a moment like this where like everything kind of comes together a little bit. So my exposures for the sky and for this like solar flare coming in. Let's see what the exposure is. So we're at ISO 64. So I set that. My aperture is at f10, and my shutter's at 1,000. My exposure compensation is like up 2/3. And yeah, as you can see, it's XT1, and this was shot January 26, 2019. Almost at 8 p.m., so definitely last light, if it wasn't already obvious. And then if you've seen my work, what I like to do is get my focus point really up close, which is hard to do obviously in the water housing, but you can get a little bit closer. And now I have a new lens, which is the 24 to 70 kit lens equivalent. Um, so this is with the 35 millimeter equivalent lens, with my favorite lens in the world, with this little baby. It is a 1.4 prime lens, and it is a street god. This lens. This is the most typical street lens focal length, so 35 millimeter equivalent, because on the Fuji there's a crop with the ASPC sensor. But this lens has, man, I've shot an entire book with this. The Votos Unidos project that I'm working on is basically every single photo has been shot with this lens. I just like how compact it is. I can take it anywhere. I can beat it up, and I don't have to. I don't have to baby it. Your gear is meant to be used. Like, use it. Really take full advantage. It says water sealing or weather resistant. Okay, let's find out if you really are. Now, obviously within limitations, right? So I'm not gonna obviously go into the water with it. I'm gonna get a water housing for it, but use your gear. Take it and like beat it up. That's what it's for. And Fujifilm is great about having the weather sealing, building top notch, like, God, so sharp. XT1, man, this is a super old camera. This thing, like, shouldn't even. All right, so let's just go into a little detail for this one. This, for me, this little light coming in. Oh, all right. I love that. And so you notice this little pink band on the corner. That's also sometimes when I really see an image that really impacts me. You might see the colors changing right now. What I'll do is, those are color coding sections, right? And so that helps me after I tag, then I'll color code. But if I can tag and color code, then I'm already I'm jumping up a little step. But sometimes you color code on one and then no, wait a minute. This one was a little better. Look at that. Oh my God. A little moment of silence here, for this dreamscape. Cool. All right. So, yeah, a ton of these images I'm shooting underwater up, maybe to get something cool. Again, I can't really necessarily see what I'm shooting in a sense, but I'm non-stop shooting. I'm not sure if it's in focus, if it's not, like, I'm just non-stop shooting. No, I don't have time to review. Maybe I'll review to make sure my exposure is set, and that, but I'm not checking focus. Like, you have this to look through. It's not really practical to do it. What I'll do is I'll make sure that the screen is open and clear and is showing in the back, right? And I'm just shooting nonstop. Shooting the surfers, the sunset. Man, get in the water. It's just like these little like bubbles, man. Shoot it. You like it? Shoot it. The important thing is to have a practice that you can look through the images after you shot them, so that you can learn. Let's say, okay, I like this exposure. The guy's like right in front of the sun or whatever. And what I'll do is I'll check to see what my exposure is. I'm like, okay, at f5 that looks good. ISO 640. It could actually have been 800. Could have actually gone up to 800, but um, I want to make sure that my shutter is obviously fast enough to be able to catch the speed. And this is one of the surf ones with the exposure compensation on, right? And because it's a 1.4 lens, the camera will adjust. And it's not perfectly exposed. It's a little dark, but I can play with a little dark. I can't play with overexposed. And so this is kind of like I might have shared this, but this is like my money shot also from the trip. So there's 3 images that once we get through all of this that I remember of that were for me just totally worth going out in the water. Sometimes I like to think is like all you need is one. If you can get 2, great. But just go out methodically, right? But with the intention of like, okay, if I come back with one photo that is worthy of like battling for space in the portfolio, or maybe I build a new gallery of images that's like more like I don't know, like adventure photography or surf photography or something, then I'll be able to have work that I can go through, and even work like some of this stuff can go into landscape categories, some of this can go into lifestyle, some of this can go into because of this the building, you can I don't know, man, editorial. There's so much you can do with this. Tight details, shooting some more surfers, and just nonstop shooting. And then I decided to play with a little slow shutter. Some results. Getting caught on the inside is always fun. And then, like, come on, really? Mexico, Pacific sunsets. Come on, please, stop it. So here what I'm looking for is a wave to come across and to cut this, what would be half image, just ocean. So you have a little beach, you have this wave coming through, and then you have the sky. And this is like, shoot vertical. Vertical is super in these days with Instagram, so you can feel comfortable shooting like this shot. Some images that you forget you make that you kind of love, right, when you see it again. This photo is really cool. I love these rocks coming in. I love the mountains in the back. This surfer, this wave coming around the corner. Let's do a simple check and see how we're doing. Seems like we're kind of okay. Drop some frames, but could be worse, I guess. All right. Sunset, Choi. Diagonals, 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 diagonals. For as much as you want clean verticals and flat horizontals and stuff, diagonals. In photography, at least for me, that's been my focus. This one's super sharp. Oh, more sunset pics. A little slow shutter of the crowd surfing this wave. Looks great. I kind of like the motion blur. It's missing, I think, like a critical subject. I don't know. This guy in the center of the frame is perfectly sharp. If I would have stayed and played with it a little bit longer, so I'm at a 30th of a second. My ISO could have been higher, but when you're dealing with these older cameras, the more you push the ISO, the more grain you're gonna get, and not always, grain is not good. So again, playing with framing with diagonals, right? This one's kind of right on the center. I like it. It's cute. It's nice. I probably could have changed my shutter speed because it's a little slow for this. So instead of, here I went with aperture f7. What can you do? Oh, but this last light of Cerritos Point, take me back. Actually, hopefully I'm there soon, man. damn quarantine killed any kind of trip vibes, but never fear. And so now what I'm doing is I'm really kind of waiting for a nice wave to come in and give me this nice little splash. I bumped the ISO up to 1,000 to make sure that I can get this last remaining light. And I'm trying to set up a frame that kind of it's with the 35, it's a little wide, right? Now with the zoom lens, I'll be able to get in tighter at least with the water housing. But yeah, as you can see, I'm kind of waiting for a wave to come in to cause a little chaos, and then just like literally like last light details. Oh, these are cool. I got super lucky to be able to be in this place in Cerritos. Um, and early morning, late days. Don't sell yourself short. Just do it. Just do it all. Wake up early. And this is actually the next day. Yeah, the next day. 9 o'clock. Not super early, but again, a morning check. The surf was good, and I probably went surfing. Like this image, there was another one from the day before, but come on, Baja. Stop it, bro. Don't be afraid to be super critical of your own work. This is kind of the practice for me too of doing these streams is like I want to show you a little bit of everything that I try and shoot. I'm not sure what this image presents to me now, right? But I'm very conscious of the fact that photography is a way of grabbing impermanent moments and like zipping them all the way into the future. So, how is this space going to change within the next 5 years, 2 years, 10 years, 20 years, 30 years? There's like a little real estate store right next to this like little surfer's coffee shop that we'll actually go through right now. But there's construction going up, like simple, but people are building. People are interacting and changing the landscape. Like, I for what it's worth, it's changing and like this dirt road, who knows how long it'll be a dirt road for, like this mountainscape just kind of empty with a bunch of stuff. Who knows how empty it'll be? And I'm kind of fascinated by that. This one's really cool. This diagonal darkness spot. So a lot of photography too is contrast of darkness and light, right? So what this looks like it's a storage unit, of course, for the snowbirds, and these beautiful cactus like right in the middle. Nice architecture. I really want to include this diagonal line. Maybe a crop right here so you don't see this front wall, but it actually pulls you a little bit further in. And then shooting out of the car window, just shooting everything that might come up. I find that might be cool. Got to get some photos of the relatives, bro. My cousin hooked me up with this trip. Some like sunrise and sunset. Sunrise and sunset. And this is a beach further south, further north. I'm not sure. That has this like lady like sitting in the ocean, putting her hair in the ocean, kind of vibe. Drone. That would have been epic with a drone. But yeah, like don't waste the sunrise. Don't waste the sunset. Just like little stuff, I don't like using the mirror in the car, using these like dreamy landscapes, shooting out the car window at 1,000 of a second. It's like Cerritos. That's the actual Hotel California, which is now just like a sad tourist trap. What is it? This theater was strange and epic. I remember that guy. And then the next morning, midday, probably had a morning surf that day, and I come across this like quarter pipe at, at the restaurant. Flowers, obviously. I love images like this that I call them like visual haikus, little moments of nature expressed over a quick little moment in time. But like if I'm not gravitating towards this detail of this like super dry clay dirt mixture, then I nice little toe shot in there. If I'm not if you're not paying attention to these little details, you're probably gonna miss something within it that's also really interesting. So don't don't hesitate to take your time, shoot the flowers. you know what someone's gonna just shoot the flowers, man. Just always shoot the flowers, man and lady. Trying to figure out, yeah, this is the original. I would never have come up across this little plant growing through the dry rock. Look at how epic. Beautiful little seedling. Yeah, dude, I don't even know how long we're going on. Surfer's Paradise. Hey, man. What's going on, mouse? You just crapped out on me, didn't you? Wunderbar. Mm. Crispy little architecture, like that Airbnb is probably killing it. It's like natural landscapes. I don't mind that it's crooked at all. I shoot a lot from the car window. I really don't care. I go ham on it. If I'm walking, driving, whatever. And then like you come across a local that's killing it at the skate park, the little mini ramp. You gotta go shoot them. You gotta do it. You gotta do it. And so these images, like it's a little sequence, obviously, but these images are like for me are nice little moment to like make a buddy. I follow this guy on Instagram now, and we chat every once in a while. This dude lives a pretty epic life. He lives on the beach, teaches surf, skates, proper local. And mad respect to all the locals out there at all the surf breaks. And then just like looking for peak moments like this, like dreamy sky, right? So you're looking for light, you're looking for a subject, and you're looking for a moment. And that's that's the difference between, okay, this one has nice light, nice subject, but the moment, he's not at his most dramatic per se. That hand kind of coming across diagonal, that's dramatic. And obviously taquitos, shooting the locals, chatting up. All right, so this was actually a few days put together. All right, I guess we can go through some of the tagged in these other ones. Like this is like the typical, let it load. This is like the typical Cerritos vibe these days. Canadian, probably transplant with his Can-Am just going ham in the desert. Props, old dude. And then just, yeah, this beautiful garden. Like I don't know what I'll ever use this image for. Maybe it's just a little Instagram snippet. Maybe you can stock photo it, but the goal here is to shoot anything that's calling your attention, right? So the body is reacting to all these things that are going around. And the camera is the extension of that. So you want to obviously get technical with it. You want to learn how to be good technically. But then you kind of need to let go of that and just, especially in the moment, right? You get too technical, you'll never take a photo. So if you keep looking, again, the perfect is the enemy of the good. Yeah. All right, so we got, let's see how many purples I got. Got a few here. Let's see if I missed any of the newer ones. Oh yeah, something like this. That's one. That's one. Oh, this one was another one. Sunset, bro. Too cute. Those were a couple other ones. That one's kind of trippy. I like this one too. This one, I don't know, maybe that one. This is when it gets a little more difficult, right? So I started here. Actually, I started here. And I'm trying to put a frame within the frame, realizing that it's actually super busy. And so I'll actually, I noticed that, so I got lower. If you notice, like the height of the camera was up here, basically like above the head. And then it started working its way down. And it literally got on the, so instead of having this busy foreground here and the busy background here, if I get closer, I just have these rocks that are slightly out of focus that builds up to the skater and the point and the sky. Now, this one is cool and I like it. This is actually my favorite kind of like moment, right? But now is when we can start getting critical. This background might do something for me later. It's kind of the nice frames, but it's not really highlighting my subject like something like this is. Even, yeah, we're going to go with the two of those. All right, let's see. Purples. All right, so we got Canadian dude and his Can-Am. We got this cool little flower. Yeah, bro, I shoot flowers. What about you? This one was a backdrop of mine for a while. These ocean details. Can't get enough ever. I like this thing here, this in the bottom of the frame. This is called laminar flow. And it's just the way like the surface tension and the water and the current and the movement of the waves going back and forth create these little fluctuations in the water, and that's what that is. Laminar flow. Oh, that's tasty. Some underwater stuff. Why not? Shoot directly into the sun, see what comes out. A little bit of half and half. Doesn't really have the wide. If this had a nice big dome port here, it's called, I would have been able to get like more of the water. I don't know how to describe it, but it puts the water a little bit further out, and it like divides. So like half and half, right? Oh, what's that? Big. Um, and that's what a lot of the world class surf photographers have, so they can get the under and above, the bottom below like surf. And there's some even massive ones that are like the size of your head, even bigger, like double head. All right, so we have this one. Let's go. Let's oof. Let's see if no, it won't load the editing. So yeah, I have my computer is not gonna be able to handle the having OBS open, live stream, and PhotoMechanic, and Capture One. So we'll just end it here. It's a good start. I don't know. We'll see. We'll review this and see what it's like after. But going from 1,762 images down to 41 within a span of, well, let's say an hour, right? Because it's less than an hour, and I spent a little bit of time before combing through it. But this is when we can finally start editing the photos. I'm not going to start editing, like editing. So back in my day, editing was considered what we're doing now. So combing through the images and coming up with your favorite ones. Now editing is actually like photoshopping and doing all that stuff. Yeah, check it out. Oh, take me back. That one works ish. So like you look back and you're like, oh, where is that photo? Oh, I didn't color tag those yet. Oh, okay. Well, why not? This is a selfie that actually I was able to pull up because it's at 500 ISO. Charlie, much love, bro. Charlie's a man. Yeah, and I guess we're back here, man. The upper room. Ooh. That's gotta be the one. I like this image. I like this diagonal. I like the dirt here. Obviously the mountains in the background, and I actually like the buildings in this one because they give you a sense of how the terrain is changing, the impermanence of it. But yeah, that's the take home. That's how we get down from 1,700 images to 50. Okay. PhotoMechanic for the win. Let's go back. Let's go to. But yeah, thank you. I don't know, whoever was able to see this. If you have any questions, any comments, you'd like to see anything else, obviously, eventually once I get this better figured out, we go on to 101, 102, 103, 104, whatever. We'll be able to kind of present some more dynamic broadcast. Doing it live is a bit difficult. As you can see, actually now the stream seems fine. I've probably taken up everyone's internet in the neighborhood. But yeah, I'm Rodrigo Gaya. Thanks for hanging and chatting. If you have any questions, comments, you want to see something else, check out my website, rodrigogaya.com, for anything, man. I got a bunch of stuff on there. I got a photo blog. I got some articles and some stories, some photo stories, some documentary work, some event work, a little bit of everything there. I'm going to try and keep doing a little more of this. Hopefully next time I can get it onto Twitch also, but I got to pay premium. We'll figure that out. I'll figure it out. And yeah.